As Europe continues to shake, the global economy, including the Korean economy, is heading for a crisis. This past week, Kim Seok-dong, chairman of the Financial Services Commission, hinted that there will be a shift from neoliberalism to a new economic paradigm similar to the way laissez-faire capitalism was replaced by modified capitalism after the Great Depression. He also claimed that the new paradigm will emphasize social responsibility rather than market liberalization.
장기 저성장 저고용 시대라는 얘기예요. 앞으로 그러니까 최소한 상당 기간 동안은 적어도 한 10년 정도는 저성장 저고용 시대로 갈 것이다.
The European debt crisis that began in October 2009 is having a contagion effect on neighboring countries, as well as the major countries of the Eurozone. In addition, the crisis is viewed to be spreading from a financial crisis to a crisis in banking systems. Greece, the first out of the 17 Eurozone states to call for a bailout in February 2010, was subsequently followed by Ireland in November of the same year, Portugal in April 2011, and Spain just this past 11th, seeking a lifeline for its ailing banks.
The original causes of the Eurozone debt crisis were the badly managed heavy public sector and the poor banking system, and the last one is the global financial crisis.
태생적인 한계와 그다음에 남유럽 경제 한계, 그다음에 북유럽의 그 문제점 이런 것들이 종합적으로 이번에 나타난 것이 유럽의 재정위기다 이렇게 볼 수 있겠습니다.
The Korean economy is increasingly facing external uncertainties amid the deepening crisis in Europe. KOSPI, the benchmark Korea Composite Stock Price Index, which had been well over 2,000, plunged below the 1,800 mark, suffering the worst day of the year. In addition, the $1 exchange rate, which had been within the 1120 to 1130 range, is heading to surpass 1,200 won.
원달러가 올라간다는 얘기는 원화가 절하된다는 이야기거든요. 그래서 주가는 급락하고 원달러 환율은 급등하는 전형적인 위기 때 나타났던 현상들이 재반복되었다라고 볼 수 있습니다.
There are now direct impacts on the real economy. Exports, a key driver of the Korean economy, has been recording negative growth for 3 consecutive months since March. However, what is worse is that the Korean economy has been particularly hard hit by the European debt crisis. Compared to other nations, the drop in stock prices and the depreciation of won against the dollar have been significant.
Foreign holdings in the Korean stock market are high, around 1/3 of total market capitalization, and 30% of them are held by the short-term oriented European investors. The volatility in the financial market tends to increase due to the fact that the Korean economy is heavily dependent upon exports, and that external events can have a magnifying effect on the real economy.
Korea has an export-oriented economic structure in which it is almost 100% dependent on external trade. High dependence on external trade may be beneficial for economic development when trade volume increases, but at times of crises, it turns into a weapon directly damaging the economy. Although Korea reached a historic $1 trillion in trade, it has become more vulnerable to external shocks.
아시아 어느 국가보다도 외국인 자본시장 개방 정도가 가장 그 수준이 높기 때문에 일각에서는 한국이 어떤 위기가 닥쳤을 때 글로벌 투자 기관들한테는 ATM 역할을 한다. 그만큼 빠르게 유동성을 회수할 수 있는 제1의 국가.
자본 유출입에 대해서 특별한 규제가 없고 또 외국인들이 돈이 필요할 때 현금화하기가 아주 쉬운 나라이다. 왜냐하면 세금도 안 매기죠 우리나라는 또.
We will address domestic risks such as household debts that could be magnified preemptively. We will strengthen market stability by implementing macroprudential measures in place flexibly and ensuring fiscal soundness. At the same time, we'll take steps to boost domestic demand, that is domestic consumption and investment through more aggressive deregulatory and other microeconomic measures.
While recovering from the 1997 Asian financial crisis, Korea was obligated to liberalize its financial market as part of the International Monetary Fund conditionalities. This action program led to a massive inflow of foreign speculative capital in the Korean stock market without any capital gains tax. Thus, currently, the ratio of foreign capital in the Korean stock market is a little over 30%. This is higher than the average 20% market shares of foreign banks in OECD nations, and indeed the highest among Asian nations.
어떤 측면에서는 이 자본시장 개방이 위기가 닥치지 않았을 때는 긍정적인 측면이 더 많습니다. 유입되는 자본들도 많을 수가 있고 그 부분들이 경제에 활력을 줄 수도 있죠. 그러나 위기 때는 우리가 기축통화를 가지고 있는 국가가 아니기 때문에 그렇기 때문에 개방 정도가 높을수록 이런 금융위기가 닥쳤을 때의 충격 정도, 반응 정도도 클 수밖에 없는 그런 양면을 가지고 있다고 볼 수 있습니다.
The Korean automobile, memory semiconductor, and shipbuilding companies took the 2008 subprime mortgage crisis as an opportunity. While foreign companies experienced severe blows, they increased their market power and extended the quality gap.
이번 유럽 재정위기에서도 현대 기아자동차는 2011년도의 경우 전체 자동차 시장이 12% 감소했음에도 불구하고 오히려 시장 점유율을 높이면서 그 높은 그 실적을 기록하였습니다. 이러한 그 높은 판매 실적을 바탕으로 현대 기아자동차는 그 R&D 투자를 늘리고 현지에서 경쟁력을 강화하기 위한 좋은 기회가 될 것으로 생각됩니다.
To brace for another global financial crisis, the Korean government has decided to switch the regular review system into one using intensive monitoring for prompt response to external shocks. Also, the government has decided to continue to conduct foreign liquidity stress tests while keeping track of capital flows of stocks, bonds, and foreign exchange markets.
Eurozone debt crisis might last longer than we expect, and then the world economy will not be in a good shape for a long time. But we need to have confidence in Korean economy because the fundamentals of Korean economy is better than any other time, and the Korean companies are very competitive in the world market.
In principle, I agree with the view that the fundamental economic restructuring efforts rather than short-term fixes are important. However, I recognize the need for short-term responses in the case in which an early action is required for preventing the crisis from spreading into a systemic risk in the real sector as the crisis deepens. In case of our economy, there needs to be further effort to improve the soundness of each sector, including ensuring the soft landing of household debts so that our economy is less vulnerable to external shocks while preparing to avoid systemic risk in times of crisis.
The Korean government must carefully plan and respond to the European debt crisis so that it does not lead to an inflation of prices, transferring the burden to the citizens. In addition, it must place effort to promote its industries and boost domestic demand in order to achieve economic development.